It says 7 o'clock up there. I'll call the meeting to order, please. Agenda 2.1, or pardon me, agenda item 2.1. I would like a motion, please, to adopt the agenda for the regular council meeting. Okay, Salt and Torgerson. And are there any additions or amendments?
I believe there's a, sorry, Your Worship.
Okay.
There was a summary to the report that was included in the agenda.
Yeah, and that's good, okay? So, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 3.1, adoption of the minutes of the October 25th, 2016 public hearing. Reimer and Blanchette. Are there any corrections? Here, no questions. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 3.2, adoption of the minutes of the October 25th, 2016 regular meeting of council. Recommendation that council adopts the minutes of the October 25th meeting. Blanchette and Reimer. Are there any errors or omissions? No? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 3.3, adoption of the minutes of the November 3rd, 2016 special meeting of council. And motion to adopt, please, Reimer and Blanchette. Are there any errors or omissions? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 3.4. Motion, please, according to the recommendation that council accepts the minutes of the October 18, 2016 Public Works Committee meeting for information. Reimer and Torgerson. Are there any questions or comments?
Gentlemen have been busy.
Yes, they have, haven't they?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor of receipt? Carried. Agenda item 3.5, Direct Heat Use Committee meeting minutes. Recommendation that council accepts for information the minutes of the Direct Heat Use Committee meetings held on June 2nd, June 29, August 4, September 7, and October 5, 2016. Okay, Blanchette and Torgerson. Is there any discussion? Oh, hearing none, all in favor? Carried. We have a reading file. Recommendation that council accepts the reading file for information purposes. Motion, please, Salt and Blanchette. Is there anything that council wishes to bring forward for discussion? Councillor Salt.
I really would like to bring forward the Northern Health Patient Safety Week about Question Saves Lives. The importance of feeling comfortable and making sure you advocate for yourself and family members to take the time to talk to your doctor and ask questions and get the answers you need. It's very important, and I've really been pleased with how well that does happen here in BC. So, like I said, I've been advocating for a family member as well, and it's very important to try and get as many answers as you can. So please ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask your doctor and take some time. They are willing to answer your questions.
Okay. Is there anything further that council wishes to bring forward? Councillor Reimer.
Is the effort to change the school district allocation for trustees being done as a joint effort in the region?
We have worked under the regional district of Fraser Fort George, and then the chair of the regional district, as you can see, wrote a letter. So did the mayor of the village of McBride and mayor of Mackenzie, Pat Crook, and this letter is addressed to me. We all wrote letters, and I believe that there is information provided on with a suggestion that if we want amendments to write the Ministry of Education. And so I was going to bring that forward as well to see if council would like the village of Valemount to write an official letter to the Ministry of Education, and just recommending that it be like a ward system. There are no direct, there's no complaint. It's just that people feel that those who live within an area are more in tune with what's going on. So Yes.
Your Worship, if I could just comment, you're coming up to a regional board meeting pretty
Yes.
soon, and I think this might be something that you could discuss at the regional board as a group, because all of you have now written letters to the minister and ministry, and perhaps it's time to involve the regional district.
Yes, yes, I agree. Thank you. Is there anything further that council wishes to discuss on this item? Councillor Reimer?
I would support a letter from the Village of Valemount to the Ministry of Education
Okay.
that we have a trustee in representing our own area.
Okay. You want to make that into a motion?
Yes.
Okay, and a seconder, please. Councillor Blanchette. Any discussion, and I shall take it forward to the next regional district board meeting as well. Councillor Torgerson.
The letter, according to subsection 5,
Yes.
needs a plethora of information to go
Yes.
along with that letter.
Yes. Yes.
Perhaps we should be writing a letter to the regional district first, prior to the Ministry of Education, in order to gain their support.
The regional district is already in support,
Okay.
but what Mr. Simmons suggested is that we do it in
Collaboration.
as a group and one entity. Yeah. So we can write our letter, but we can copy the regional district of Fraser Fort George as well as the other 2 municipalities. Okay? Okay. Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Administrative reports. 8.1, council appointments to the Regional District and Prince George Treaty Advisory Council. And that is recommendation that Mayor Townsend is appointed as director representing the village on the board of the Regional District, Councillor Reimer as the alternate, and that Councillor Sandy Salt is appointed as the Village of Valemount representative on the Prince George Treaty Advisory Committee, which is under the auspices of the Regional District. Okay, Councillor Torgerson.
I'll move that.
Okay, moved by Councillor Torgerson, seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 8.2, the Columbia Basin Trust Community Initiative Program Committee appointments. What is council's wish? We have a recommendation that council appoints, and we have 2 appointments. What is council's wish? Councillor Torgerson.
I move the council appoints Ms. Rita Ruertz for 1 year and Mike Johnson for 2.
Okay, a seconder, please.
I'll second that.
Okay, Councillor Salt. Okay. And I understand they were the only 2 applicants.
It's too bad.
Yes, it is.
It would have been nice to see a little more interest, but
I think so too.
I think the public are aware that it's not an easy task.
That's right.
So.
And so I just said to Councillor Blanchette that if anybody complains to her about any adjudication, she'll say, well, why did you apply to be on there? Okay. If there's no discussion, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 8.3, subdivision frontage waiver request. That a waiver of the minimum 10% frontage rule be granted to Wendy Dyson for proposed lots B and C within Lot A, District Lot 9778, Caribou District Plan 2289. Council's wish. Councillor Torgerson, Councillor Blanchette, you're moving the recommendation. Okay, any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 9.1, Village of Valemount Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 762, 2016. Recommendation that council approves first and second reading of the Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 762, 2016. Councillor Blanchette and Councillor Torgerson. And it's open for discussion. Ms. McNee is here. Does council have any questions of her? Any clarification? Councillor Reimer.
First of all, let me say I kind of reluctantly support the idea that we increase our utility rates for this year. However, I I caution that we also need to be careful and think in the future that we don't outprice ourselves in terms of the cost of, number one, doing business in our community by having uncompetitive tax rates or utility rates. Because it is still a competitive business market. Having said that, I also think that we should really think carefully about having a target goal of how much money to have as a cushion in our and as a reserve. And I think we can do that. I think we can set a target goal. And once we're at that target goal, maintain that. And that is kind of by a formula that first of all, we know exactly how much infrastructure we have on the ground, how much pipe, how many connections, how many lift stations we have, and we should know the exact replacement cost of all that infrastructure today. What does it cost to replace it if we had to go and replace everything? And we should know how old that current structure is and what the life expectancy of it is. So let's say that a lot of the piping is, or some of the infrastructure is 40 years old. If it has a life expectancy of 60 years, we have 20 years to go. Divide the total amount of our infrastructure by 20 and replace 6% of it a year so that by the end of the 20 years, we've replaced the whole thing. And then we're good for 40 years and we can start again. But we only have to replace 3% now. So we kind of come up with a total amount of money that we need in reserve, which is really never any more than what it would cost us to replace what we need for 2 years and our ongoing maintenance. That's just kind of what I've
Your thoughts?
thought about.
I'm going to go back to 2007 and 2008 when we were told by the Northern Health Authority that we had to bring in a water filtration plant because there was giardia up in Swift Creek. That was a $3 million project. And we were told we had no choice, okay? And so as I've said previously, water and sewer are our priority because that's public health. It's not to say that other, like streets and cemeteries and parks are not important, they are, but the public health is the first priority. And if we hadn't had a reserve in our water account, which I believe was around between 260 and 270,000, and we were fortunate that the federal government granted us $1 million, the provincial government granted us $1 million, and we only had to borrow $700 and some thousand over 20 years. And I think that'll be paid off. Ms. McNee? It should be paid off probably within about the next 10 years or so.
10 or 12.
10 or 12 years. So it's just like running your own home. You have to have reserves in case, in the event something happens. We never expected anything like that to happen, but there were some patients that had been reported that had beaver fever, and that was from the giardia, from wild animals up above in Swift Creek. Okay, so yes.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there couldn't be incidents where we have a unique situation where all of a sudden and that was totally unforeseen.
Yeah.
It happened and it needed to be done.
Yeah.
And there was no choice in that. However, as a base of an ongoing reserve amount for the infrastructure that we have, this seems to be a logical reason. I mean, I don't think that this is the only place that we can build a reserve. We can build reserves out of other areas. But certainly in terms of this, I don't think we need all the money in the bank account to replace 100% of everything.
I don't think that's the goal, is it? Ms. McNee, would you like to speak to that?
Through granting, we require 25 to 33% of the total amount of infrastructure. And we have those figures available.
Mm-hmm.
So 25 to 30% through granting, that would still be 25-30% would still allocate for 100%. And again, I'm suggesting that if we understand what we have and understand the life expectancy of what we have and over how much time we need to replace 100%, we can budget that 25 and 30%. We don't have to have the whole 25 and 30% in the bank right away.
I think infrastructure grants, we can't count for sure when they are going to be available. And as Ms. McNee says, when an infrastructure grant becomes available, you have to have 1/3. Otherwise, you don't get anything. Okay, Councillor?
If we're fortunate enough that we're replacing infrastructure where both water, sewer, and roads are all in the same area, you can count on about $1,500 per linear meter. We have approximately 17 kilometers of roads, probably a little bit more than that in water and sewer. So you can count on that kind of rough estimate.
Okay. I would like to suggest that perhaps the Public Works Committee look at this with the Public Works Superintendent and our Director of Finance and bring back some information. Okay. Yes, Councillor Salt.
I mean, this has been an issue that provincial and federal governments have been aware of. It was going to be a huge impact for municipalities across the country, and that's where I believe the tangible capital assets was brought into effect in 2009. And then we've also applied for a grant as well, which we are currently working on as far as a capital management plan. Mm-hmm. So that's going to provide us with a lot of that information, Councillor Reimer, that you're asking for. This planning has been started because we knew that this was an issue that was going to be affecting municipalities across the country. So absolutely, those are valid concerns, and that's where we knew that it was going to be, and that's where we started working on that.
Yes. With respect to the rates, I'll ask Ms. McNee how our rates compare to other municipalities this size. And also with respect to the 9.5%, those who are misinformed might not realize that the bottom line is not very much. Here it's $24 a year. Okay, is what the 9.5% indicates. And I'll let you explain further.
Okay. I actually did a comparison with all of the water, sewer, and garbage for the whole utility bill that's going to be increased. Mm-hmm. There's 9.5% for operating capital. There's a couple 2.12% in lieu of the vacant lots going down 10%. Mm-hmm. The bottom dollar figure for residential bill will be an additional $71.54 a year, which equates to $5.96 a month additional. Okay. With the increases submitted to council.
But that's for water, sewer, and garbage pickup. Yes. For water alone, as I say, the 9.5% is $24 a year. So that's $2 a month. Yeah.
And I did talk to some other municipalities our size with water treatment plants. We are not comparable if this increase goes in, but they are all looking to do the same thing.
Okay. And you did say that this was a recommendation of the consultants that the village had?
Correct. We hired them in 2015 to start a study for this. Yes. They reviewed all of our rates, what we needed for capital, and they reviewed the TCA policy, which shows all of our infrastructure, the cost to replace it, and how old it is.
Okay. Good. Okay. Yes, Councillor Salt.
I absolutely sympathize with how citizens are going to feel, and like Director of Finance McNee says, we may not be comparable right now, but after everyone else has to implement it. But I do have to say that these fees are still amazingly cheap compared to what I used to pay in Alberta. When I came here, I could not believe basically water was being given away.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I still think it's fair and affordable.
And I really, bottom line, $2 a month more is not significant.
Not for
No.
water, sewer, and
No.
public health.
No, and my husband was in management with BC Hydro. We got transferred around. We too were amazed at the low cost here. Yeah, so, okay. If there's nothing further, all in favor of first and second reading? Carried. We did have a mover and a seconder for that, didn't we? Okay. Okay, 10.1, council reports. I'll start with Councillor Torgerson. We'll go backwards this time.
Thank you, Your Worship. November the 1st, I attended a subcommittee of the Tourism Valemount in their advertising subcommittee as well, and immediately following by a regular meeting of the Tourism Valemount. On the 2nd in the evening, I had a meeting with the Direct Heat Use Committee. The following morning, I was here with you all for a special meeting of council. And yesterday, I was at the Valemount Community Forest conference room for a regular meeting of their board.
Thank you.
I'm here before you now.
Yes, there we are. In big as life. Councillor Salt.
I attended a Valemount Children's Activity Society board meeting on the 1st of November. I extend my regrets again about meeting the special meeting council meeting last Thursday, and it's been a little bit of a quiet couple weeks for me. Council-wise, I'm here tonight.
Good, thank you. Councillor Reimer.
I was at a historical society meeting this afternoon, at Valemount Community Forest meeting yesterday afternoon, and special meeting of council on November 3rd.
Thank you. Councillor Blanchette.
The 2nd, I had a Canoe Valley Recreation meeting. The 3rd was here, special meeting of council. And then the 7th was the Child and Youth Mental Health meeting.
Okay, thank you. And I had a quiet 2 weeks too, except for being in Prince George for several days, and our special meeting on the 3rd of November. And several other meetings, but not official. Okay, so thank you. Motion to receive, please. Okay, Salt and Blanchette. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 12.1, motion please to receive the list of outstanding previous council resolutions. Blanchette and Salt. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. And 13.1, 14.1, 14.1, public comments. Does anyone have any comments in the public? Well, hearing none, we'll go to adjournment. Motion to adjourn. Okay. Salt and Torgerson and Reimer and Blanchette. Your choice. Okay, we're adjourned. Amazing.